just want to say that it's okay to feel. Actually, in this very, I would argue, 2D, plastic, superficial, vested interest world of media and social media, having raw emotion and just saying what you want to say is pretty uncommon. There's not too many people who are at the top, or celebrities or influencers, that really can let themselves be vulnerable and really let themselves be like, ugh, this is how I'm feeling. And I think that creates a disconnect to our own humanity and our own sanity. I think there's no one goes through life feeling okay all the time. No one goes through life feeling happy all the time. And I think if you go through life always feeling negative and down, then that itself is a separate problem. But going through big life changes and releasing emotion, that is actually really healthy. And let me tell you, releasing all that emotion in that video, did that make me feel better? Getting in touch to how I felt when I was 12 really made me have compassion for myself and compassion for anyone else still in that social comparing, self-esteem orientated life. I think for me, I put a lot of emphasis on how I looked and, my edited life because simply because I think it was an inadequacy with how I was living in my own personal life, my own individual life. And I think realizing that, I don't like who I am. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like the career I'm in. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not happy. I want to change stuff. And then releasing that emotion and realizing, I would argue, the amount of unnecessary things I was doing and the time I'd wasted, that is not something that shows a mental breakdown. That is what shows, I believe, empowerment and courage and bravery to admit where you went wrong and to admit the things you don't like about yourselves, but with the, conscious thought of, I want to move forward. I'm not going to sit in this anymore. I really want to make a change for myself. And that was what the video was about. And I think it's a bigger picture than me though. It's almost like we live in a society where raw, authentic emotion is criticized, blamed, and humiliated. And I think that's setting up a really bad example to younger generations. It's like saying, you can't cry, that shows you're weak. You can't feel anything, that shows you're weak. When really, everyone feels stuff. Everyone's very good at suppressing it, I would argue. A lot of people are good at suppressing it lately. But I think it's a bigger picture of actually, I want to feel, and I want to feel my emotions so I don't bottle them up and do things out of fear and anxiety. And it's almost like letting yourself be honest with what you're doing and who you want to be gets you there. Or I don't know, I just think if you think that video where I'm expressing how I felt when I was younger and how I don't want to be there anymore, that was a mental breakdown, I would then give you the stance to say, let yourself feel. No one's perfect and no one has these perfect emotions, but being vulnerable and raw and honest with yourself is, I believe, the only way to move forward. I think we're not machines and we're not these instinctive animals. We have intellect and a sense of consciousness that allows us to analyze what's going on and analyze what we're doing, our actions, our day-to-day, our careers, and be able to say to ourselves, something has to change. I'm not content right now. I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like what I was promoting, and I didn't like the system I was in. I didn't like the game I was playing, so I wanted to change it. Allowing yourself to feel emotion is what connects human beings and what makes us all the same. We all have emotion. We all have doubts and fears. Admitting them to ourselves. I'm not saying everyone has to put out a raw, crazy video. Sorry, crazy isn't even the word. A raw, honest, vulnerable video. It's not crazy. It's, if anything, real life in this 2D world that we're used to. It's funny how when we see emotion, we think it's fake, or we see emotion and we go, that's not right. She has a problem, or I'm gonna ridicule her because that's not right. And I think when you have those opinions on someone else showing emotion, like stop crying, shut up, you're an attention seeker. Like, how often do we do that to each other? If someone's crying and we think, oh, I'm not going over there. Or if someone's having this big, like, oh, I don't want to who I want to be. It's like, this person's not okay. How did we get to that point? I just think it's about when you're honest with your own emotions, then you can have compassion with other people's and you don't push them away, blame them, or ridicule them, for their emotions. I think, yeah, let yourself feel. And Brene Brown, Power of Vulnerability, and all her work with shame really let me get to the point where I could see what I was doing and admit to myself that I didn't like who I was becoming. And anyway, the point of this video was, I think it's totally cool to show emotion. I think it's, if not revolutionary, to be raw and vulnerable with yourself, because that's the only way you're going to move forward and really move forward out of love for yourself and, I guess, honesty with who you want to be. So that's the point of this video. I feel really great. I really hope you enjoy the blog posts and the behind the images that I have coming out. If not, then have an awesome day. Try not to look through a screen too much because the world's pretty great, and yeah.